All right, Tustin Ranch condo homeowners, here is your market update going into February of 2022. Guys, just a reminder, February 14th, which is a Monday, is Valentine's Day. Consider this a reminder. You are welcome. We're going to talk about some price data, some sales data, and some predictions as we move forward. By the way, we do these updates every single month on our YouTube channel. So to get notified when we do those, just hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon and all that good stuff. And, and you'll get that notification just so you can kind of keep up. Even if nothing's going on or there's a whole lot of something going on, you'll get notified and you can kind of keep up with it where other people are going to miss out. So let's talk about some price data here. So we're talking about 5 months. We look at 5 months just to kind of keep an eye on a recent trend of it. If there's anything exciting happening, or strange happening. We do a median and an average because there's just not enough data to get a real good consistent median. Very, very few transactions happening. So it's tough to get that, that good middle part. So we do an average as a cross check, okay? Just to kind of see if there's any like real weird things happening. So if we take a look here right now, January 2022, holy smokes. For condos in Tustin Ranch, you guys are peaking out at a median of $845,000 for a condo. This is incredible. An average of $836,200. Are you excited yet? Yes, I think you should be excited. We have really seen this trend just growing every single month because why? People want to live in Tustin Ranch. Right, and maybe they can't afford that $2 million condo, but man, they're happy living in your the $2 million house, but they're happy living in your condo because it's so nice up there. Now this is wow, something. So this is the sold percentage of list price. So in other words, when you list your house, how much are people paying above that? Okay, and for January, people were paying 8.8% above what people were listing their condos for. So, I mean, that's incredible. So what this tells us, this is a good indicator because, so if you look back here, you got kind of, you're bouncing around all over the place, 1.9, 4.3, 5.7, 2.7. But what this tells us is that people are pricing their home in the right place, okay? So when they put it on the market, instead of like throwing it way up here going, hey, it's a seller's market, let's just shoot for the sky and see, if somebody's willing to pay that price. Instead, what they're doing is they're pricing it at, hey, what should our condo sell for? Probably about here. Okay, great. Let's price it there. And then what we're finding out is that people, they're coming along and they're fighting over it, back and forth, bidding, more and more for it until it gets to that point where, that's it. That's as far as it's going to go. And now you have a sale. So the message is price your condo appropriately if you decide to sell. And you will get people fighting over it. You'll get a quick sale. And you can move on with your life. And it's important to understand because there are actually condos in Tustin Ranch that are expiring. Right? There's expired listings all over the place right now. Wait a minute, it's a seller's market. Are you kidding? How are homes expiring? Overpricing. That's almost always what it comes down to. So anyways, if you got questions about any of that stuff or you're, about what the right price is to put your condo at, let me know. We'll be happy to help you out with that. Price per square footage. So again, we got a little trend here going up, up, up. We kind of hovered. And then we ended January 2022 at $682 a square foot. Wow. Okay. So this could be a good benchmark for you to kind of just start and kind of go, okay, well, what's our square footage? $682. Is that reasonable? Is that a reasonable price for us to kind of start at? Of course, there are always things to consider, like, your location, the condition, the immediate surrounding area. Are you backed up to a major street, something like that, right? These are all factors that are considered, but it's just a good, fun starting point to kind of go, okay, gosh, where should we be, in the price range there. So let's talk about sales data. Let's talk about numbers on that. Okay, so let's take a look at new listings. So coming into the marketplace in January, we only had 13 listings. Look at back in November, we had one listing come in the marketplace. And just for perspective here, there's 4,095 condos, 4,095 condos in Tustin Ranch, and only 13 came on the market. I mean, that's nothing. That is crazy low, and that's why I got the little guy's freak out face here. That's 0.3%. 0.3%, not 1% of the total available homes. 0.3% of all the total available homes, 4,095 condos. Crazy. It is just crazy, crazy, right? And then days on market. So in January, 4 days. Again, another indicator. If you price it right and you put it in good condition, all stuff, homes are going to sell quickly. Okay, so definitely do that. Closed sales. In January, we had 9 closed sales. Okay, now I have that. This is in yellow because for the first time we've had more homes come on the market than we had sell. Okay, not a big deal. Not right now. Again, inventory is still so ridiculously low, it almost doesn't matter. But it is one of those things where you go, oh, okay, now are we having more people starting to sell? And if that happens, what happens is the inventory starts to go up as fewer homes are being sold, as more coming on and fewer homes are selling, making more competition, driving prices down. Okay, so we're going to kind of keep an eye on that for you. Make sure you subscribe so you can get the notifications. Hit the bell icon and all the good stuff so that you can get these notifications every month, so you can keep an eye on what's going on and make decisions quick. If you're planning on selling, if you're not planning on selling, so what? You need to keep up on this stuff anyways, just so you know what's going on. So 9 closed in January. Months of supply. So, and this is why this changed too, is because if you look at November, December, we only had 0.2 months of supply. What that equates to is 6 days. And when we're talking about month supply, what month supply means is if we took all the condos for sale in Tustin Ranch, all of them, and we added no new condo listings, nothing else new on the market, how long would it take us to sell the existing inventory of condos? And for November, December, it was 6 days. Okay. If we look at January, it's going up to 5 or half a month, 0.5, 15 days, because for the first time, like I said, we've had more come into the market than sell. So we're going to kind of keep an eye on that for it. Okay, and then we've got active listings. Yeah, so again, in December, we ended up with 1 active listing at the end of the month. In January, we had 8. Okay, so still no competition, guys. There's nothing out there. But I am including this slide here. This is the first time we're putting this slide in. It's our foreclosure slide because there's an interesting dynamic that's happening here. And this tends to get a little bit confusing. So I want you to understand what's going on here and how it could potentially affect us in the future. We don't know yet, but it could. And what we're looking at here, so this is 92782, these 2 columns here for all properties, condos and single family, doesn't matter. This is for all of Orange County, okay? And what's being reflected here is notice of defaults, or NOD, and notice of trustee sale, which is NOT. Notice of default is essentially that document that the lender records with the county and sends to you, the homeowner, and says, hey, this is your 90-day notice. You're getting a 90-day notice. If you do not bring your mortgage current, then you're toast. Then we're gonna foreclose. We're gonna take the property back. Okay, so 90 days, and then if the 90 days ends and you go, okay, gosh, let me take, you didn't bring it current, fine. We're gonna do a notice of trustee sale. That notice of trustee sale, also recorded with the county and issued to you, it says, fine, didn't bring it current. Then after 21 days, your house will be sold at auction. Here's the date and the time. It's going to be sold, and when it gets sold, you no longer own the house, and you have to leave. Okay? If you don't leave, we're going to come and get you out. It's that simple, okay? So, the interesting dynamic that's happening here, first of all, in Tustin Ranch, the notice of defaults and the notice of foreclosure, or notice of trustee sales, I mean, minimal, right? When we're talking about 2,000 homes or 2,000 condos. Wait a minute. I think these are the wrong numbers. But we're talking about, what I say, 4,000 homes in Tustin Ranch. It's nothing. These numbers are nothing. What's interesting though is we look at the county. We have to look at the county because the county can affect us as well, right? We're good for now, but it could come in and affect us. And what we're talking about is there's more notice of trustee sales happening than there are notice of defaults. Okay, well, what does that mean? Well, let me clarify. So typically what happens is in a month, you have the lenders, they file all these notice of trustee sales, okay? And they say, you better bring your mortgage current or else. And there's only two ways to bring the mortgage current. So some people, they will go and, they'll beg, borrow, they'll steal, whatever they got to do to bring that current and, fine, okay, we're out of the woods, right? And so now that's solved. The other group, they just go, there's no way we're going to be able to bring this current. Let's just sell the house. So they sell the house, they take the money, they run, and off they go. The rest are issued a notice of trustee sale. So there's always fewer notice of trustee sales than there are notice of defaults. But if you look at these numbers, it's flipped. There's a whole lot more notice of trustee sales than there are notice of defaults. And the reason I believe is that it's just, psychologists refer to it as a kind of a pent-up demand by these lenders. So during the foreclosure moratorium, even though they couldn't foreclose, they couldn't complete a foreclosure on you and kick you out of the house, they could begin the process. They can issue a notice of default, right? And say, you're in default. If you don't bring a current, we're gonna foreclose on you, okay? And so if you go back, and I have a full history of this, you go back and you look at all the notice of defaults that are filed during the foreclosure moratorium, and now all of a sudden, the moratorium is lifted in September. Well, guess what? They all go, fine, finally. And they start filing these notice of trustee sales, which is exceeding the current number of notice of defaults. Okay? So the importance behind this is that not that it really affects us right at this moment, but we have to keep an eye on this trend, because if the trend stays like this, we've got problems. However, if at some point in time it normalizes and crosses back over where now there's more notice of defaults and fewer notice of trustee sales because people are bringing their stuff current one way or the other, then we're okay. It's just business as usual, right? But this is a very interesting dynamic. But we're going to be watching foreclosures going forward until further notice, just because it's kind of like, there's a lot of people on forbearances. There are a lot of people who didn't have workout things. There's a lot of people, that just can't deal with it, but those foreclosures can affect you as a homeowner. So we're going to watch those. In Orange County, the hardest hit cities are Garden Grove, Fullerton, Fountain Valley, and Laguna Beach right now. So, for whatever that's worth, it's just interesting information. Housing market predictions for 92782 condos. But first, guys, if you're thinking about selling your house or your condo, you know what? There's no reason to pay really high commissions. Not right now. And I've been doing this since 1997, and we've been charging the 1% listing fee for a long time. And we're happy to do that for you. We do the same thing that everybody else does as far as getting your home sold. And this allows you to get more when you sell your house and keep more money in your pocket at closing. So if you have questions about it, happy to talk to you. Just give me a call. We'll chat. And, and then if it works out, great. If not, no hard feelings. But at least you don't know until you call. So give me a ring when that time comes. So this is not a prediction per se, but this is just kind of a confirmation. We always bring this up the last couple of months of the year. So last month in November, we brought this up that historically in December, which is reflected by these green dots, is always the bottom of the peak of new listings coming into the marketplace, right? And the reason is because, well, people just don't want to put their house on the market during the holidays. It's like, let's get through the holidays and then we'll get back into the swing of things and everything comes up. Well, you guys see by the numbers that we have already shown you that is in fact the case, is that we're having more listings come into the marketplace as we move forward. But one of the things that I look at is what other things are affecting the market or could affect the market. And this is an article that just came out yesterday saying that we are now $30 trillion in debt and it is going to impact Americans. Okay. Well, what does that mean? What does it mean, impact Americans? Well, I think you already know what that means, because just the cost of living has gone up so high right now. Just to go out and have a meal with your family. I know there's been a couple times when I've gone out to my favorite restaurant with my family, and I'm, wait a minute, I don't remember it being that much. The last 8 times we ate here, And so you look at that, you look at the cost of gas, you look at the cost of cars going up, the cost of groceries, everything going up so high. So when it comes to the fact, or the situation where they're going, gosh, we want to buy a condo in TUSTIN Ranch because we love TUSTIN Ranch, we love the condos there. Oh, but man, when we're doing our budget and everything, it's getting eaten up by all this other cost of living stuff. We can't afford to pay $850,000 for a condo, right? And so then what that will start to do eventually is it'll start to shrink the buyer pool. Because right now the buyer pool is this big and the available inventory is this big, right? So obviously supply and demand. But when we're talking about, the buyer pool starting to shrink and then now the inventory is starting to grow, well then, at some point in time, and it always happens, there will be a shift. Where there'll be more inventory than there will be buyers. And so now we have to, be thinking about that. Is it going to happen tomorrow? No, it's going to happen. We're so low on inventory. Rates are still so good that, that's not really an issue. But we have to be thinking about that. But then you got other articles like this one that comes up. U.S. troops to deploy Eastern Europe and Ukraine to Eastern Europe amid the Ukraine crisis. Really? That's what we need right now? We need to go get into a argument with Russia? And what this kind of thing does is it creates consumer confidence issues where people go, oh man, are we going to war with Russia, for God's sakes? Is that what we're doing? Do I want to buy a house right now? Okay. And so it causes people to question things, right? And then on top of that, you got articles like this. Oh, well, mortgage rates reached a 22-month high of 3.75 last week, faster than experts predicted. So here's what to expect next, right? This is January 24th. Okay. And then, February 2022, rates headed higher. February 1st, 2022, rates rise. California housing market will cool in 2022. Again, consumer confidence issues. Now, whether they're accurate or not doesn't matter, because all they have to do, if they're reading in that vein of commentary, then they're going, oh my gosh, whoa, hang on. Should we buy? The market's going to cool in 2022, right? And they're going to go, I don't think we buy. Let's wait until the market crashes, right? Heard it 1,000 times. But this gets into their mind and the way that they think about stuff like that, right? So, and then SoCal's housing inventory at a catastrophically low. So this is kind of the flip side of the coin. Hey, there's no inventory, so it's a catastrophically low for the buyers. Not for the sellers. It's good for you, but it's low for the buyers, so it's tough for them to find a house, right? So there's always two sides of the coin, okay? But here's one that is really interesting, and while it doesn't directly affect condo owners because you guys are already in, I don't want to say high density, but you're in more, a heavier density living situation than the single family resident community goes. But this beauty right here, SB9, So this thing went into effect. It was passed, and it went into effect on January 1st. And basically what this says is that a property owner can take that property, a single family resident property, can now not be restricted to just single family resident house zoning, and can now be split into 2 lots and have 2 units put on each lot. Okay, so basically, in essence, what you're doing is you're taking a place where there's a house and putting a fourplex of sorts on that house. I mean on that land. Okay. And in my opinion, this is supposed to help with the housing crisis. It's supposed to create affordable housing for more places for people to live. And in my opinion, this is my opinion. If you got a different opinion, put it in the comments. My opinion, it's horrible. It is a horrible thing. It is the worst thing in the world. Why? Because it doesn't help the housing crisis at all. It doesn't help the housing crisis at all. What it does is it destroys neighborhoods. So you have a neighborhood. It's a great neighborhood, and it helps create values. People want to live there. They want to be in that neighborhood. They bust their butt to get into that neighborhood, and they're not living in that neighborhood. But now it's splotched with, rental properties. And I've said this before, and I know, if you're a renter and you're watching this, I know you're an exception to the rule because you're one of the best renters out there, I'm sure. But generally speaking, a renter doesn't have the same pride of ownership with a property that the homeowner does. Okay? I mean, it just is what it is. You don't own the house. So, you're not going to be as concerned with minor details and just the overall appearance and things like that. You're going to probably let some things go that a homeowner might not let go because it's not yours. Why would you spend the money on it, right? It doesn't make any sense. And that's fair. But when you have these multiple units being dropped into neighborhoods because, your neighbor decides, hey, you know what, man, let's gosh, I can do this. Let me scrape this old busted down house, and let me put 4 units right next door. Now you got parking issues, and you got, potential noise issues and other things going on that you didn't have before in a neighborhood. Or grandma passes away and an investor comes in and buys that and sees, oh my gosh. And how does this affect the condo community, right? So we're in condos. They're not going to do that here because we're already multiple units in one location. It's like, yeah, like I said, what it does is it affects the single family resident values, right? So it's like I talked about before. People come in and they go, gosh, I can't afford that $2 million house in Tustin Ranch that people are going, man, I would love to live in that house, but I have to live in Tustin Ranch. So I'll pay $850,000 for a condo. Okay. Well, now if the values of those homes in Tustin Ranch come down because they're splotched with, multiple unit lots, well, that'll affect your value too. It absolutely will. Now, there's nothing we can do about this, but keep an eye out. If you see a house being knocked down, tell me, are they putting 2 or 4 pads down to build those units there? We'll see. But I don't think this is great. So, but what's the solution though? So what, from my, opinion, the county, the state, even the federal government owns land. Lots of land. There's lots of land out there, right? Use that to build high density housing. If that's the issue to solve the housing crisis, then use it to build high density housing. Put up, skyscrapers, with apartments in them. Don't put them in the middle of my neighborhood or your neighborhood. Right? That just doesn't make any sense. And so, anyways, that's my opinion. Curious about your opinion. What do you think about that whole thing with them doing that? What do you think about the market in general? Put it in the comments. I'd love to hear it. And of course, guys, if you have any questions, real estate related, you're thinking about selling, you're thinking about buying, whatever, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to talk to you, happy to answer any questions that might come up. Otherwise, there's a video popping up on the screen right now that you probably should watch. Take care.